Welcome back to my retirement save for Factorio. We have reached a stage in this factory where we are able to smelt quite a lot, and we are requesting the smelting on 3/8 trains from a few mines over here. And we have the production areas set up to produce our science at 900 science per minute, including space science. Actually, they're provisioned to produce 1,000 per minute, and we throttle it there at the very end, so we are consuming 900 per minute to get the factory into a stable homeostasis. But all of the intermediates here are using infinite supplies for the things we are smelting, because we are working forward now instead of backward. So instead of looking at this and building all the smelting of iron that we need for everything, and then having infinite ore supply, and then later having to go out and spend an episode putting down iron mine after iron mine after iron mine, that's just boring. And this is my entertainment. So I didn't want to do it that way anymore. So we set up a little bit of each one. So now our strategy is to go back to these guys one at a time and replace them with factories that receive trains from the big smelting arrays, one at a time. And when we are drawing more ore, more plate, then we can supply. In other words, if we are outrunning our ore supply, then we go out and we put a mine or two in, and we see where we are, and then so increasing our ore supply stepwise as we increase these. This also allows us to do another thing that I think is going to be critical, in that as we step up to using the 3/8 trains, I want to go double width on these, because this single width allows us to either have parking for a train coming in ready to drop, or have parking for a train that has dropped and is heading out, not both. Even if these guys are slow, I want to think in terms of organizing this so that we don't have planned bottlenecks. So I want a 3 wide on the trains here, which means I really need this entire width of 2 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each cell, each old cell, and duplicate it a couple rows higher, double wide. So this would be processing units here, and advanced units here, and electronic circuits here. And then these guys would go to somewhere up here, 1, 2, 3. They'll be using a bunch of this. And the science is going to head up here, and he's just going to string out like crazy. So if we landfill this entire area, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we probably could get off without landfilling, but who knows? The other thing we could do would be to move these up even taller, and have these sciences use up 2 rows. Anyway, that only impacts our current planning in the decision on where to put our green chips. So I think with all that in mind, I'm going to put them on this row, and I'm going to start off with processing units on the far left. We'll see how that goes. If we start in this cell here, then we've got plenty of space to grow. So let's add that tag. Processing units with a processing unit icon. And we're going to put it there. So what are we going to need in there? Well, we're going to need the same kind of inputs that these guys have, but they're going to need to be inputting from the vertical lines and outputting to the vertical lines. So the connections on the edges are going to be a little different. But this, oops, where am I? Oh, here I am. Okay, so I'm going to need to get a copy of the various stations. Make sure those are on blueprints. I don't think I have a final blueprint of my output station. Yeah, see, there's the ore loading station. And I did a whole bunch of blueprints, but I don't think I snapped my loading stations. I think I just kind of laid those out by hand. I've been away for a while. Game blueprints here. Yeah, see, LTN 38 ore loading is kind of the last one I did. So I'm gonna set up the generalized loading and unloading to start with. So the generalized unloading is just going to be enough of this. How am I unloading from here? These guys. I was working on putting some filters in at one point, and I left one of those behind. There we go. So the unloading station, I'm going to want to keep the mini loaders at the bottom, and I'm going to want to keep the math. I will erase this. I do want to get through there, so let's see here. The stripes all the way back through the signal. And all the way up through that signal on the right. And just to there, I think. We do not want to keep the train stop name. In fact, I want to very carefully set this up so that we don't actually turn on our request here. So let's turn this off. Notice I've separated out the thresholds. Now this is set so that this is a requester station, which will request at 320, but we don't say what we're requesting until we turn this commutator on. So he's off. There, now we're safe to go. So we're going to go down through those guys, through there, and all the way out to the right. And we are not keeping that. We are keeping the rest of this. There we go. It's kind of takes me aback a little. It takes me aback a little bit in that the unloaders, the bulk unloaders, look like wagons on the blueprint. I had to double check that to make sure we weren't saving a train. The rest of this looks good. I don't need that power pole. I've got power. I've got my arithmetic combinator that I use to balance the output across the 8 belts. I've got my unloader, so this should be good. So this is a LTN delivery request. Delivery requests. And I'm going to say bulk because I don't allow the bulk unloaders for everything. So it uses an LTN station and a bulk unloader and outputs onto blue belts through an express mini loader. Because I'm not filtering. One of the key tenets of this base at this point is I don't send a train to move stuff unless it can pick up a completely full train and can deliver a completely full train at the other end. So there we have it, and I'm going to toss that right in my game blueprints here down at the bottom. LTN bulk delivery. And while I am thinking about it, let's check the settings. There is a LTN configuration for how long we wait when we are delivering, and it defaults to 600 seconds. So this is dangerous. Stop timeout. This means that if I don't empty myself within 300 seconds, I'm going to go back to the depot with stuff. And I cannot tolerate that because that would mean I'm delivering the wrong stuff to some other bulk unloader And bulk unloaders don't have filters on them. So the other thing is fluid removal limit. When I start moving fluid, it's going to be the same problem. The pumps that take cargo from a fluid train don't have filters. So if there is anything left in a train that returns back to the depot, I want to make sure that we remove all of it. I'm not sure what the delivery timeout is. Duration in seconds deliveries can take before assuming the train was lost. Let's leave that at 600. I'm not sure why I increased that. Depot inactivity. So this assures that trains have 10 seconds of inactivity in the depot before they leave. This allows us to make sure that they're fueled up. And if I'm draining the train of cargo, make sure that happens. Anything else I want to fix here while I'm looking? I think we're good. There. So the other blueprint that I want to have on me is the loading station. Similarly, we're sending in stuff and we're just dumping it into these bulk loaders. It's up to the factory to do proper balancing. No, I did set this up. Okay, so this also includes some balancing so that we will tend to use the mini loaders to load whatever bulk loaders are lowest or even. So if one bulk loader has a lot more, we will tend not to load it. The idea there is that if we have enough stuff here to trigger our condition, this is so if we have a total of 360 stacks in all 8 of them, the fact that they're all within 15 or so means that we will have at least 40 stacks in each one. And I did the math on that a while back. I may have gotten it wrong, but it's worked so far. The idea is that the train shouldn't have to wait here to get filled up, and if it does wait here to get filled up, then it will wait. With that 0, that means that, for example, if it has one piece of coal, it'll never fill, and it will sit here, and I will have to come fix it. And I have a cat that's petting. Be right back. Okay. And we're back. So what I'm going to need to capture here will include the combinator and the mini loader and power. Can I move the combinator down? Yes, I can. Yeah, let's put it there. That puts it kind of out of the way. And we want to capture all the way down from this rail signal, all of this stuff, and all the way out to that rail signal. So let's start here. And this is high enough. Let's capture one belt above it. But there we go. We do not want the train stop name. Oh, and I need to make sure that when I drop this down, it doesn't actually start doing anything. It will say if I have... No, this is good. This is good. It will advertise itself as a station that will be able to provide stuff, but it doesn't have anything to provide initially, which is just fine. It also means I don't have to do anything to bring these stations online. And let's include one belt going in. There we go. There's our arithmetic combinator, there is our constant combinator, and we are done. So this is now LTN bulk loader. And this is from Blue Belt through Express Mini Loader using logistic train stop. There. I am not always consistent on what I put in my icons. I just put in whatever seems to make sense at the time. Create blueprint and drop it in here. Yeah, good enough. Although I didn't put the bulk loader symbol in. So let's refit this. Make that start off with bulk loader. Let's say express mini loader into bulk rail loader train station to train. Okay. There. So now, with those input and output train stations snapped, I'm now good to actually start building this processing unit area. And I'm going to start with designing its inputs and outputs, get those set up, and then we will make sure that the actual factory can fit in between. Because if it doesn't fit, then we might have to have our processing units done in a 2x2 area rather than 1x1, making our building areas even bigger than our smelters, which are already, see how much extra space these take up just because of the extra train space. I probably could have arranged for some curvy curves and such to. Well, no, I couldn't have gotten this down. These things are just too big for one square anyway. So 2 squares, yeah, okay. Anyway, let's see if we can do this in just a 1x2 area. Let's start from the top, and we'll see if I can put in my stations. I want to have the inputs coming down from down on the left. These are left-hand. The verticals are left-hand drive, so the inputs are coming down on the left, flowing through, and going back up on the right. So we know these are symmetric, so we know that this cell is the important one. So here is our first place we could have a train station. Let's check this. We are good. I think I have been using that kind of a layout. And that kind of a layout. And we have I didn't put it on my hotbar. Let's see, what on the hotbar do we need to keep? Well, this is a blueprint that gives us one long train. This gives us our new cell, which we may need. Vertical and horizontal stuff, we may need that. New cell. We don't need 2 copies of that. We're not going to need the big mining array, ore station. That was our join for our main line off far right. I don't need that anymore. It's a blueprint for a random train. We will use this to create more trains as we need them. We don't need them yet. These are useful bends for the ore, but they're not useful for us. Okay. In fact, I am just going to grab from my book whatever I need when I need it. So for this, I need bulk deliveries, and I'm going to need bulk loaders, like that. So the bulk delivery request ends up getting put right here in the middle, and I've got a 3/8 train. So there's the middle guy and 5 on each side. So he's going to end up going here. So first of all, let's fix this. I didn't make it anywhere near long enough. Now, I do need to see where my layout ends. So let's leave this in place for the moment. Bulk loader. Delivery request. So the center point of it has 5 cargo wagons on each side. So the center point is right there. Ultimately, I could center it 4 wagons on each side. Let's center the 4 wagons each side. That's better. So delivery request will have just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the mini loaders that are pulling the ore out of, well, in this case the plate, out of the wagons. And I want 4 of them to the left and 4 of them to the right of my ultimate center line. And I think that's as close as I can get. If I go 1 over, that's not as good. So we're going to go with this. As far as power is concerned, we are just a little bit too high for that power to work. So I can either submit to my compulsive need to make things be on a perfect grid, or I can just accept the fact that we are not going to have our power where we want it here. I think the latter is the way to go. So I'm going to do that. Oh, no, this guy still needs to be here. There. Now, any of these connectors that went south need to go away. Hold on, do I have cheats? I have cheats turned on. Okay. Well, hell. Much as I hate to say it, I'm not so worried about having creative mod turned on right now as I should. Okay. So, there's our new joiner that goes north. And I'm just going to bring this down. Nothing special. Just to get us power. So. Oh, I replaced all the names. There were a number of backer names that are just kind of distracting to me. So I've replaced them with basically random names. My apologies to any backers that feel slighted by the fact that their names don't appear on stations many years after they backed it. But yeah, thank you to the backers for having backed this. So our station is going to be requesting iron plates for these guys. So we're just going to grab that station name. And I'm not going to use it exactly here. Every station has to have a unique name in LTN. So I'll just call this 1A. And that means I might have a 1B and a 1C. Well, you know, if I needed more iron dropped here, or I might have a 2 if we had more elsewhere, but let's standardize on a number for which area it is, and an A, B, C, D for duplicate stations handling the same goods in the same in the same cell area. So nobody has anything to do here. So if we actually were to request iron at this point, by turning this on, well, let's request iron plate. Then that would go out to LTN, and LTN would schedule a train to come deliver us some plate. and it would immediately fill up and these outputs would go live. And I don't want to do that quite yet because we have some more stations to put down, and I'm going to have to figure out how to route these lines. So what else does this need? This also needs copper, and then plastic and sulfur are going to be on 4s. We don't yet have plastic. At some point we are going to need to build the petroleum refinery. I think I want to get some things done before that. But what I will do is I will set up an infinite supply of plastic that's similar to the infinite supplies I've done for some other things. Wait, do I currently have infinite supply of anything here? Yeah, I've got infinite rocket fuel here, so I can do a temporary infinite plastic and so on. Anyway, the second station is going to be for copper. And I think this is just going to be exactly the same thing. I'm just going to copy this whole thing like this. Just for grins, I'm going to save the train stop name this time. And where did I put this? I think I have enough space between them. Well, goodness. If I stagger the mini loaders, then what I end up with is 2 parallel belts from each ore coming south. That's pretty good. Although, these guys don't need to offload. I normally think in terms of offload from the train into a box and then offload from the box. And what we're looking at here is the out from the box. So we have a whole bunch of resources coming in. We do want to do a balance because there is a chance that one of our, well, if one of our wagons is lagging behind, that would slow down his column. And if the other train didn't have the same lag, we could end up with imbalances where one column had only iron, one column had only copper. So we do need to use an 8-to-8 balancer at some point here, which means these guys need to squirrel around a little bit. So I need to send 4 to the right and 4 to the left. Let's work that out here. Let's see, I have some belts. Yeah, I was at game speed too. So what if I send 4 of these off to the left and 4 of them off to the right? Or here's a crazy thought. What if my iron offloads to the north and I balance it and send it out, and my copper offloads? If they both offload to the north, I could then put the 8x8 balancers off to the left and right. Okay, let's do that. I am going to see if I can switch this around. So what I want to do is just rotate this much. So let's start off by grabbing, let's see, here, out through here. Let's grab the whole thing here. I flip it. Oh boy. Yeah, flipping does bad things to this. So we're going to have to rotate. Okay, that's not going to work. So basically what it comes down to is I just need to manually send it north. Oh, that's too bad. It would have been nice if this had just lined up for me. So can I... Oh, and this doesn't... I can't turn the mini loader the other way. Well, it was worth a shot. So what we want to do is build both of these guys with their exits to the north, which means we have to actually do it by hand. And red goes here. That goes there. Red and green. And that does not work. So I'm going to have to just bite the bullet and run all of those wires by hand. Is this still programmed? It is not. Which means I'm going to need to place this one down. Okay. Now, this, you notice that the filters here, enable condition, is specifying what it's unloading here. It's only on the first one. I must not have set that up properly. I'm going to have to go back and check my smelters at some point. But this is going to unload when everything is greater than or equal to -5. Like that. So I'm going to change the picker dolly so that it will be able to make things go through other things. Mod settings, map, picker dolly. Okay, allow ignoring. So you set this on the map to allow it to be done on the map. And then separately you set it per player, so each player can do it or not. This is a dangerous thing to do. But this allows me to then go boom, 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 just like that. And I think I can do these. There's a problem with how far power lines stretch. So you can't really... I can bring this down to its normal spot here. That doesn't look too bad, does it? So this is inputting from there. This really should be horizontal. It should be like this. Yeah. So like that. So the downside of this is if I'm coming north, I have to jump over it. So I'm going to tuck it in down here. That's not clipping into anything. So there we go. So there's our unloading station, which is not locked to a specific thing, but has a specific thing that it will request when I turn that on. And now I can copy paste the whole thing. And all I now require is the top guy, I send all of his off to the left. And the second guy, I jump through it and send all the guys off to the right. And I'm going to just paper dolly this stuff across. There. And this is going to request copper. This is going to be neat. Okay, now I'm thinking see if I take these guys off to the left like this. And then I'm going to take the other guy off to the right, like that. But he's going to just jump over all of them. I'm going to leave a 2 gap and take him here, like this. And I'm going to let the plates have priority here, just like that. Now this guy, he's going to be coming up to here and across. He's up and across. Up and across. Now, I could save a lot of resources by having these guys be next to each other, but at this point, I'm not really caring too much. There. So now we just need to put our balancers. Put my little favorite 8-date balancer here, and I can see that I didn't leave the gap that I wanted to leave. There's my gap. Why not make them about the same? There. Yeah, without measuring, that's visually okay. It really would be much nicer if these guys were adjacent to each other, wouldn't it? Yeah. Let's fix that. Yeah, that didn't work. There. So now we have our iron and our copper, which are brought out of the wagon, out of the unloading areas, and sent in to mergers, which we're going to get them nice and evenly laid out, and then we can go on to the rest of our production down here. So the next things we have are some 1-4 unloaders for plastic and sulfur. Too bad I can't see more in here. So it looks like I have my 8s coming out on the left here, and then I have my plastic fed in, and of course sulfur just gets squirreled in with the pipes. So the rest of this, probably I can just copy paste from the station. I'm going to see if I can take care of that intersection, say just by flipping the upper one. I think I was careful to make these symmetric. Oh, good enough. There. That was easy. So if those are our inputs, and we've got a couple more inputs coming, now we need our output, which is going to go, let's see, left-hand drive. So up from the right, around, and down to the left. And this is going to be a 1-4. So what do we have here? We have, there's our curve, there's our single I like having that one lane of straightaway in there. There. Again, we need to signal this. There's plenty of room in here, so if someday we want to go to the 3/8 trains for the rest of its inputs and outputs, we can refactor that in. And at this point now we just want to go copy the existing factory. Let's do it by parts. Let's start with the output station, and then the factory itself, see how it fits. So during all of this, what does our production look like? We are still chunking out the science. Good. So this is our our loading station. Now I'm thinking that for the loading station here, I will have just exactly what we've got here. And let's just bring this up somewhere in the middle. And I have an output station. I do not have an input station. Excuse me, I got a parking on the input. I don't have a run out on the left that's straight. This guy counts on in this area around the curve. So if I want my output to be somewhere near the middle, means this is going to be here. Why don't I just set it up so that my signaling is about there? Yeah, that'll work. And now we just give ourselves the appropriate run out. There. And I'm going to go ahead and mark out some extra parking here. There. Oh, and this guy, he's currently off. Ooh. I wonder how much of my factory has those off. That's not good. That's a provider. He can go ahead and turn on. But he does need to have his own name. This is LTN Blue Chips 1A. And mark out parking here. I'm using my finger to hold the proper place and then go back and check. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, so here-ish. Put it there. See, that's too short. There's enough. Oh, wait a minute. There. Always use a yardstick on these. So in theory, we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys waiting for this. So I am going to up his max to 5. And now we bring up our power. He's powered. All he is lacking is his source of materials. And these substations are, well, they make it really easy to do things, but I don't really need them. There's plenty of space in there. Just like that. So that is our loading. So we still need to put in here somewhere the actual assemblers, and then we need to have the stations for unloading the other pieces of kit. And let's see if they just do the whole thing at once. It's too bad I didn't place radar. I think the next time I do one of these, I will radar up both where I'm copying from and where I'm setting up the new one, so that I don't have to keep walking back and forth to look at what I'm doing. Okay, so this blueprint way. So in theory, what I really want to keep is these 2 stations, and these belts actually come in from the far left, far right. Oh goodness, let's just grab a little bit further to the left, so we get some belts on the left and some belts on the right, and up to there. Now we really only need 3 belts on each side. Right, so we still have the problem that some of the iron needs to be moved from the left-hand side to the right, so the copper needs to be moved from the right-hand side to the left. And I do not believe we can use mixed belts, so where is that? What have we got here? Yeah, this is pretty much streaming full belt of copper into these guys and full belt of iron. I don't want to go 6. Yeah. Yeah, that would get crazy if I tried to have all the iron in one side, or if I try to have iron copper split going in both sides. And while we're down here, let me grab these 2 stations, just a bit of them. Just to size things. Yeah, see, there's my infinite supply of sulfur right there. I'm going to need that, at least temporarily. We will at some point do our... Well, let's just pick up the whole thing then. From here, through here, all the way down to there. I'm going to pick up everything, keep the trains, keep the train stop names, because these are dummy stops at this point. Now I can adjust their names. This is part of my fueling, which I don't need. So we have fuel with an infinite fuel start, which I will need to seed. And these are the infinite source train cars, which again I will need to seed those. And in order to see, to make sure I actually have some plastic on. Oh, if I don't have any plastic, I can get some easy. And back up to here. So just to size things while I'm en route, I think we have plenty of space. Yeah, no problem. And I'll just place that down where it will be easy enough to work with. So my center line is about there. And if I put it there, that's as far up as it goes while still getting the power. So now we have the problem of sending some of these right and some of those left. And that's, I only need 3 out of each one. So this is a bit of a challenge. I'd like to have the 4th from each one of these loop back and be an input. That's kind of crazy with the way this is set up, so let's make that, this is the old single. I'm going to do a gap of 2, so we're only going to get 3 inputs here. Like this. So this line right here potentially has twice as many sources coming in. So this will serve as our 4 to 3 by backing these up against each other like this. So now these 3 need to go right. Now, if I didn't have to balance the left 3 against the right, the left 4 against the right 4, I'd just send 4 left and 4 right, do 4 4s, but then we'd still have the problem of what if 4 of them are unbalanced with respect to the other 4. So we still do need this, unfortunately. So we're going to have 3 lines coming from the right here. And then we're going to have 3 lines going to the left. Like that. What the heck? Okay, so now these are going to come south, these are going to come south. Let's move this to the left one. I am seeking symmetry here. There's that. Okay, so there's my potential outputs. I'm not going to finalize that quite yet because I may need to move farther to the right and to the left. At least we've got 3 and 3. So this still leaves us with arranging for our oil products to be pulled in at some point, somewhere, somehow. Yeah, those do connect on through. And we have other various things that get hooked up here and here. Here. I believe. Oh, these are output lines. And why was this extended upwards? Let's chop it off there. So I was talking about putting radars in, and I totally didn't put radars in, so my bad. Let's put in a super radar while we're thinking about it here. And that covers quite a bit. Okay, and as we see, of all the lines going north, the only ones we had to worry about were plastic coming in there. So I am going to toss in a super radar here so we can continue to look at these. Let's grab some convenient plastic. Like that. And plastic and sulfur, we need to set up those railroad trains and route their outputs, and then we're done. We're going to call this second gen. Oh, this is actually third generation. The first generation style build is starting base. The second generation style build is down here. This is really our third generation style build. And the train stations look something like this. Here's our center line. Oh god, it's so dark. So I can line up my 4 unloading stations with the first 4 unloading stations of those other trains. And I like that. I'm also going to set it up so it's at the same distance from them, but they are from each other, which happens to be the distance the new stations were from each other. And I like that. So these guys have plastic. And these little bits go away. That plastic really ought to line up with the rest of this. So I am not going to put the second trains in here. My original thought was I would convert these trains to real trains. But as it turns out, I'm not doing that. So now we can grab this. And I'm going to move it over 1. I'm going to bring this all the way down to here and across. Now for these guys, these two need to come up to here somehow. Also, these need power, can I get power to these without using substations? Is that even a thing? If I do something like that, where would my power go? It would go here, and here, and here, and here. That's not bad. And my hookup goes here. Oh boy howdy, here we go. Here comes plastic. So unlike these trains unload everything they can into these boxes and then merge their outputs, and we don't attempt to do anything in the way of balance, because when we get a train it just dumps it in. Yeah. At some point I may want to conditionalize these mini loaders that are drawing from the steel chests to try to balance the load across the steel chest, because we only really need 2 lines of plastic output, so we're good. On the other hand, if the steel chests are big enough, each train has, well, these guys have 10 by 4, so this can do 10 by 4 plus some. So if I allow these, if I request a train when the amount of plastic I have left is less than what fits in one box off here, then that train will always be able to completely unload, which is what I want. So I think we're good there. So now these guys need to be run out. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little gauge. I have a gauge, right? Let's see, that's on, yeah, let's make a new one. From here to here, and excluding those components. This is just long enough for one train to live on. So let's do as many of these as we can. And then the end goes from here to there. Got a cat talking to me as she's heading for her little box. She looks happy. Where'd it go? There it is. There. There. I could easily have used relative snap to grid on that one, but yeah. There. Signal the ends. There, and there, and there. Oops. So if we had stations providing plastic and sulfuric acid, we could now hook those up. But we don't. Not yet. And on the right here, we have boom, boom, him, and him, and him. There. So sulfur. Goodness, look how far apart these are. They just happen to line up right here. What if I bring that up just like that? And then cut that across. Now each one of these is outputting, and we've got this flowing through. And this train really isn't needed here at all at this point. unless we have a fluid wagon that infinitely replicates. I did not believe we have a duplicating fluid wagon. That's unfortunate, because that would make it nice and symmetric. Oh, what's this? We can craft 5,000 alerts. Oof. Yeah, not sure what that is for. So now we have that. So now we need to hook up our copper and our iron. So if these pairs, the top one is the iron and the bottom one is the copper. So let's request it in and make sure I've got the right guys. I think this is the proper verticals, so we can now turn on these requests. Let's make sure that LTN is enabled. There we go. No supplying iron plate found for network 256. That's because I'm not network 256, I'm network 128. There. We enable the dispatcher, and you notice he's gone yellow. And we have 2 trains that are now marked to go to him. 4 trains now. What is his limit set to? He does not actually have a limit, and his limit needs to be set to 2. So with the 4 trains coming in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 trains will do it. I'm hoping that we don't have a traffic problem between now and then. But let's set this up. We need to set this guy max limit trains to 3. Okay, so request when we have, I'm not sure what that's when we have less than 320 stacks or when we can fit 320 stacks. It's never been totally clear to me. So we are loading up iron into these guys. Oh, 4 trains went out, 4 for copper and 4 for iron. Okay. I thought I saw 4 trains with this station. Oh no, these have the same name. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. At this point, I need to prevent those trains from getting here so that they will be retired. Yeah, that was not. Because no trains are now slated to come into copper. But I've got 2 trains with copper and 2 trains with iron that are slated to come in here. So if I take this train from copper smelting and send it back to the depot, and this train and send him back to the depot, those are going to cause problems because they've got copper in them. At least now my iron trains will appear properly. So what is this guy waiting on? He's not being loaded. Okay, so we have a bug to fix. Yeah, I should have checked the names before I enabled the request. So he's requesting copper. Make sure that's on. Yep, iron's on. So let's head up to, say, this plate guy. And I think what I was seeing on the train schedule was he actually had loaded 0 plates. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, so the bulk rail loaders can be set to do only ore or only ore and only plates, and I was not allowing plates. There we go. So I'm going to allow plates on my bulk loaders. But it's only ore and plates. You have to remember that. I'm not going to be moving plastic with these bulk loaders. And now when I get there, I should see these trains starting to get filled up. And what I'm seeing is no, they are not. We have plenty of ore in there, and yet they are not loading in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily come around. When I get close, I'm going to put it back to this and see if it starts loading. Oh, I have to go way out here before I can get turned around. I didn't anticipate that. Oops, now we are in line. And the train in front of us is actually getting loaded. So we're headed for there. See how fast he loaded up? So apparently if you change the configuration of the loader and don't re-enter the station, it doesn't trigger that. Okay, so we're going to get some train timeouts. I can go futz with trains, or I can just let it give them the timeout. And I'm inclined to just let the LTN do its thing. See, it even said loading steel plate. So he's manually stopped. Where is he? Yeah, that's okay. I have to watch that I don't unstop these guys that are infinite storage. But these depot trains that are moving things, let's just do a quick once over. Yeah, good enough. So this has iron plate in it somehow, and yet we are not offloading. This guy is telling me that. So reading contents. Enable, disable, everything greater than -5. And none of these are working. So what is this inserter seeing? It is seeing plus 12 and minus 12 right there. And the condition is everything greater than or equal to minus 5. So this should be enabled. It is enabled. Why is it not pulling stuff out? This may be a case where you have to manually put it in place. Oh, that would suck. See if I may be able to do this. So the trick is to get this in place and get the red end. Oh, I have to place it like this anyway to get the programming in. Okay. Well, that spurted a little bit out. Not sure why this is a problem. So this has to go to here. Okay. And the green wire goes across the top. Snap to grid. 7/7 relative. I am disappointed. I'm not sure why. This is only putting out on 1/2. Perhaps this needs to be a bigger number. Well, that works. Okay, so minus 15 is my number apparently. I'm thinking that probably, yeah, all we really needed to do was fix that to minus 15. Okay, so again, to review, iron is the top one. So let's bring these down one at a time. And here is the problem with not watching what I'm doing properly. This is why we test. This is why I go up after I build something and I always look and make sure it's all flowing and it's all flowing well. Now these are flowing at a reduced rate because they have been drained more. They have a longer run out. So they will flow at reduced rate when we're backed up first. Now I am going to just snap all of this down to here without the rail and drop it in. And then take all of this like that. And grab this. That. And the rest of this we can do manually. There. Grab this, flip it, line it up. Hey, I was pretty close there when I said I was going to have it about the same distance. We need about the same setup here. No rails. And there's our rivers of copper and iron plate coming in from the right. Now, if I have done this right, LTN should now consider this station to be a valid source for processing units for the rest of the factory. And I think I had a old standard of using AAA instead of LTN out here to make it come up to the top. Let's stick with that. Yeah, AAA for stations that were on the LTN networks. So interestingly, this guy doesn't believe it needs any more. He has 69K. That makes sense because his request amount is 64K. So different cargo wagons are providing at different rates. That's fine, as long as they are all going down by about the same amount, which they have to be because of the way of doing the draining. And what I am noticing here is that we are not quite filling those. So I'm going to go with a larger number. Let's say minus 30. Okay, so a delivery of rocket fuel failed. Delivery from there to there. I didn't see who that was. These are very long names. Oh, they're not. It's just this name is in front of it. Okay. So at some point, are we going to send a train here? Probably not, because our needs are being met by the other stations. Let's cut the other station off. The way to do that is to stop allowing it to take inputs. And because I believe this station is completely on infinite inputs, that means that the best way to do that is simply to pick it up. And we are still on destruction planners immediately destroying the whole world, so I can just pick this whole thing up. Start there. Boom, not a real train in the bunch. Let's just get rid of the whole thing. Leave that in case I've... Well, I actually have nobody pending. So that green station is. So he's gone. Delete. So now anybody that needs processing units will have to go get them from the new third generation processing unit guy. So who needs them? Well, RCUs need them, and well, RCUs, maybe flying robot frame. Let's go drain the RCUs and see what happens. So currently, his request is set up that he wants 16K, and currently he's got 10K. And if I go through and literally drain this, let's see here. Can I just tell this that I want to keep 0 of these on me? Or 100, yeah. Okay, so he doesn't have any. He should be requesting them. LTN requester. No supplying station found in network 2. Which is really funny because I copied that station up. These should all be station 2. Yep, encoded network ID 2. Maybe I don't have enough of them yet. That could very well be. Let's see here. Oh, I just passed 4.8K, which is probably our line. And we see there, no supplying station found in network 2. We are network 2. Provide threshold is 16K. We're not there yet. So we just have to wait. LTN is going to continue to complain about that for a moment. Now would be a good time to have a little string interlude or something while we wait for processing units to be built, which is what I should have done before deleting the other station. Okay, for the next one I replace, I need to remember to look at the provide threshold and not really depend on it being online until it's hit its provide threshold. It can actually start providing. How are we doing here? 6.1K. How much are we producing? we are producing 730 per minute. Doesn't seem right. Yeah, our previous guy was doing 1.1K. Why are we running slower? This should be running at exactly the same speed. Oh, nothing's coming out on the right. Oh, yeah, I got my iron and my copper mixed up on the right-hand side. Oh boy. So we need to fix this. Okay. We need some of these little matter voids here to drain out. I think that works. Yeah, this is going to be a bit clunky because I routed these in. Guess I'm just going to have to let it happen. There. Okay, so iron on the top, copper on the bottom. So before, when I hooked up the sulfur, I noticed the sulfur was in place and I just assumed it would work. So always double check that you're actually getting the product on the belts where it should be. And there we are actually moving. And if we look at the last 10 minutes of processing units, we see now it's climbing right back up to where it should be. So this is a bit over 1,000 per minute. So this is going to take about 16 minutes of game time. And currently we can run about 4x. Now the other thing I noticed was down here, this guy was reversed. So, given the problems I've been having elsewhere with these counters being at -5, I'm going to just put them all at -30. So I literally do not know if there's a problem here. Whoops, what happened to the programming? enable, disable. That was weird. Everything greater than or equal to minus 30. There. I think in the interest of making this hop along, I'm going to grab myself a matter source and inject some blue circuits, kind of to make up for the ones I deleted earlier. So that adds another up to 2,700 per minute. Okay, so I tried again. Weather station wants processing units, can't get it. So when we do get a train here, I want to ride it to where it needs, where it does its drop. Okay, we have a train coming. So he is going to be delivering to our rocket control units. Let's go ahead and run this at 2x. This is a very large base. It takes a long time for it to get here. So we can see that rocket control unit stopped being supplied and it ran out of its buffer because I drained it completely. So that should be able to drain the entire train. And it will send it back to the depot. Okay, well, we're draining it a lot faster than we're using it. That's okay. We're just tying up a cargo train while we unload it slowly. That's fine. I'm going to take a look at our balancers here. What are these guys programmed as? Just set filters? Yeah. Okay, so they're filtering, but they're not balancing. It's fine. So back to production. Let's see. First of all, sciences. If I slow down the update rate, I stand a chance of actually clicking on these as they float around. Little hint for people doing interfaces like this. If I'm actually actively mousing over the legend, don't reorder it underneath me. Okay, so we're still producing at rate. So the next thing we're interested in is processing units, which are back to normal, and rocket control units, which we have been tracking, which are back up to normal now. So again, we need these, and the station that's providing them is being drained right now faster than it can produce because we had it offline for so long. I think I'm going to leave the infinite source in place until we've caught back up. So when we have a couple of trains, so we need 16K per train, we get up to like 35K or something. I can remove that because now we have enough to supply more trains that are on the way once we get there. Not there yet. So you notice the moment we hit 16K, another one fired. We have a number of customers that are waiting on these. Interesting. Apparently we have scheduled all of the requests for blue chips now. That's good. Oh, what happened to those trains that we sent back to the depot that had iron plate in them? That could be a problem. Which depot did they go to? Requester, unscheduled cargo. Train arrived at the requester. I think that was when I was fiddling around with the trains and broke their schedules a bit. So we had a fuel train delivery that failed. Whoops. Fuel for 128C. It's here. Why do we have a train stuck in that station? We shouldn't even be getting a train there. He doesn't need it. So currently we have 8.9K. And we are full. Oh. Cut that in half, man. Request threshold of, say, 400. Let's go fix the other ones too. As long as LTN is set up properly, we shouldn't have trains just sitting in stations. I came down here for a reason, which was to look for trains that had cargo in them. I think we're all clean. Let's see if there's anything in here. Trains. Parked at depot. Sort by shipment. Okay, starting here down, is there anybody that shouldn't have anything? These are all loading and unloading. That's good. Okay, so that's our processing units. That was our most complicated one. Advanced circuits are also fairly large, but they're mainly just wide, which is good for this. And electronic circuits, once you have separated out the processing units and advanced circuits, there's very few things there's a very low need for more electronic circuits. So he's good. I'm going to call this a recording. I'll see you in the next one.